Robert joins us now. Robert, lovely to see you this morning. Thank you for coming in. The drama we've been lucky enough to watch already, it's on Netflix from Thursday, I think. It's absolutely gripping. It's tough. It's a tough watch.
The first one especially, I found that really tough.
Anything children, affects children, it's sometimes a difficult watch.
Can you explain a little bit to people that might not know Toxic Town, what the history of the story is and what it's involved?
Yeah, I mean, it's the story of one of Britain's biggest environmental scandals, which ultimately led to what was undoubtedly the biggest case of child poisoning in the UK since thalidomide. Now, it's set in Corby, Northamptonshire. There was a steel plant there in Corby since the 1930s. By the time you get to the mid-80s, the steel industry is in decline. Plant was shut, and then Corby Borough Council embarked on an absolutely massive land reclamation and regeneration project. Part of that project was to remove, 50-odd years of industrial and toxic waste for the site. And it's how that waste was removed that had serious consequences.
And then also how it was covered up as well, even once details started to come out. And that's kind of what your character does, because he's kind of... He's a counsellor, but he's the whistleblower, essentially. Yeah,
I play a man called Sam Hagan, who was a counsellor at Corby Borough Council. I mean, Sam was, he kind of worked in the minutiae of town planning, traffic lights and zebra crossings and stuff like that. But he was a good man, a really good man. And he, his sort of drive and dig for the truth of what had happened on the site certainly helped the mothers in their case, for sure.
Did you know much about the story? Obviously, may have known about it before you got the script and they said, we're going to make a drama about this.
I knew a little about Corby, but not so much. I mean, well, one of the kind of strange things about Corby is it was known, or if it's still known, it was known as Little Scotland.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of weird. Because loads of workers had come down from Scotland to work in the steel industry there.
OK.
So there's loads of people with Scots descent there, and from this time that we kind of look at, 80s, 90s, there's still people, that are from those families that are there today.
And it's a great cast that you've got going on there.
Fantastic. Jodie Whittaker.
Yes.
Amy Lou Woods, Rory Kinnear, Brendan Coyle. It's just the list goes on and on. It's a true ensemble, and sometimes you talk about great ensemble pieces, but they're actually very hard to find. You'll generally get one or two actors that are up there, then there's the ensemble. But this is a true...
One of the things I think is magic is Jodie is such a fabulous actress. She's got to master the Scottish accent, of course.
That must have been terrible.
In front of a Glaswegian. How did she... I mean, I think she's done a pretty good job, but I'm no master.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. She, we had a read-through about a week before filming, and she didn't have to do the accent then. She had time to go. But she was really brave, because I'm sitting right across from her.
I bet.
And she did it, and honestly, I wouldn't say this if I didn't mean it. I was genuinely blown away. And I said to her right after the read-through, I said, listen, don't be afraid of this, you've got it.
Amazing.
Brilliant.
Did you give her any tips or anything? No.
Who needs a monkey in your back,
What is magic, though, and so compelling, is how she leads those mums.
Yes.
And how powerful and incredibly driven they were once they sort of got to the point where they found the lawyer, who's brilliantly played by Rory Kinnear, and they start building this case, and the relentless push, because it took a long time to come to court, didn't it? Oh,
it took a long, long time. And back to what I was saying at the beginning there about the removal of the toxic waste. I mean, that stuff was thrown in the back of open-top lorries and driven through the streets of Corby with this poisonous sludge splashing all over the place. And then it was discovered there was a cluster of babies born in Corby with severe limb differences. And so that was for these mothers to be confronted about from the very beginning, to realise there's been something at fault for what had happened. And the fight that they had to take on after that, their fight for truth, for justice, for their voices to be heard, for their stories to be believed, was torturous for them.
Yeah, and they're just normal, ordinary mums, essentially, that have watched their children go through endless amounts of painful operations due to no fault of their own. And there's actually loads of these kind of wastes within the UK still, aren't there?
Well, I mean, I think that this piece is very pertinent, really. I think somewhere in the region of 20,000 landfill sites in the UK. I believe there's around about 2,000 of these sites that contain hazardous waste. Now, there's 300 or 400 of these places that have already been reclaimed and built upon. And we're talking houses and
schools.
Shops. 4 schools, in fact,
Really?
have been built on that kind of land.
Yeah.
So you hope, I mean, the mothers certainly hope that the lessons of Corby's been learned and no one ever has to go through that.
No,
again.
quite.
Sure.
It is fascinating, and watching that battle that they have. Don't want to ruin the outcome, but it's, you know, it's a gripping drama. That's one of those things that just I think you really feel moved by, and sort of it sits with you. We were chatting before you sat down. You don't live in the UK anymore. You're based in Canada still.
Yeah. I'm back and forward, but I'm in Vancouver a lot of the time. Yeah.
It's an extraordinary thing because your kids have all grown up and they won't have Scottish accents.
They kind of don't. They've got a kind of strange variety of accents. My eldest son, God bless him, I love him. He's got the weirdest hybrid accent you've
Can
ever
you do
heard.
it?
It's difficult because it's kind of American, kind of Glasgow thing like that. My wife look at him going, "Who are you?
Where are you from?
How did that happen?"
He's all over the place. And then at the beginning of the interview, we were talking about, you know, the full Monty, and we were talking about Trainspotting. Do you still stay in touch with all those guys as well, even though you're in?
Yeah, from Trainspotting for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, because we had the second second film, and of course we did the TV show film as well. So we got.
In fact, I was thinking about this. I think the last time we saw Begbie at the end of Trainspotting 2, he's been knocked unconscious with a loo seat in the back of a boot of a car.
Yeah.
And has anybody suggested doing the TV series like they did with Monty of Trainspotting, where everybody is?
Well, there is an actual fact, a piece that we're working on at the moment called The Blade Artist, which is an Irvine Welsh novel, which is the kind of the further adventures of Begbie. Basically, when you join the story, he has discovered art in prison. He's married his art therapist in prison. Now, that's a well-trodden path, that, in actual fact.
Is it?
Very much so. So he's come out, he lives in California, and he's got a life. But then he gets a phone call from home saying that his son has been murdered.
Right.
He goes back, and it spirals. I cannot tell you the chaos that ensues.
And is that a script that's being worked on? Would it be a film?
It'll be a 6 1-hour show. We've got the first script. So it's baby steps, but we're getting there.
Oh,
that
how
sounds
exciting.
intriguing.
Yeah. Begbie is a hippie in California.
No, you ain't got that far. He's still got his stay press and his Harrington.
As we want to see him. Robert, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
It's always a treat to see you, and Toxic Town, which I think is on Netflix on Thursday, is absolutely gripping. It's an amazing cast and it's a truly remarkable story.
Thank you so much.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.